Florida National News is in Palm Beach at the Breakers for the NFL annual meeting. All of the owners, head coaches, and general managers are gathered to discuss several proposed rule changes, as well as updates on their flag football initiatives, their broadcast and media strategy, and their global expansion plans. I was able to ask some questions of Jacksonville Jaguars head coach Liam Cohen and Tampa Bay Buccaneers head coach Todd Bowles. On the opening night of the annual meeting, the NFL heard about the growth of female sports from Serena Williams, Caitlin Clark, and Eli Manning. Stay tuned to FloridaNationalNews.com for more updates, pictures, and... Coach, can you share any details about your conversation with Liam Cohen here at the annual meeting?
Other than what the hell we doing here? Man, me and Liam are very close. So we have a very good relationship, man. It's all fun and games. He knows where I am if he needs to call me. He's got a great opportunity there in Jacksonville, and you know, that's really all we talked about. And I told him, you know, once he took the job, congratulations and everything else. It didn't affect me. No matter how he left, I'm looking for an offensive coordinator. So that's just the nature of the business. But we've done it 2 years in a row now, so it moves on from there, and I wish him the best.
Coach, as you reflect back on your career in the NFL, who do you consider to be your mentors in terms of coaching?
When I played, Emmett Thomas was my defensive back coach, and Richie Pettibone. Those were two big influences on me from a coaching standpoint. Obviously, Bruce has always been a mentor since he was my coach in college, as well as Coach Rapone. But Coach Parcells was a huge part of a lot of things that I do. Obviously, Joe Gibbs as well. But I learned a lot from Wade Phillips. I learned a lot from Andy Reid. And I learned a lot from Mike Nolan. So I had a lot of guys. I was fortunate enough to be around some great coaches that I took a little bit of each from.
Coach, what message do you have for Bucs fans about the coming season?
It's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting. We're really trying to go a lot further than we went this year and look a lot more impressive than we looked in the last few years. And that comes with the guys having a lot of confidence and continuity. But again, that has to be built from the ground up, and we're looking forward to the challenge.
Well, can you talk about the learning curve for you, making that transition from offensive coordinator to head coach? And also, what does a typical day look like for you in the offseason?
Man, I just got asked that question. That's a really good one. No, it's a great one. I really do, because you're, as an OC, you're managing, 10 coaches, players, a little bit of staffing, but not, that's basically about it. Now, there's other parts to it. It keeps adding up, right? With defense, special teams, a little bit of the situations outside, but that's the beautiful way of how we structured this with myself, James, Tony Baselli. I'm able to truly focus on the staff. Like, that's it. Like, I'll keep the main thing. I'm a football coach. James does personnel. Tony's able to help with so much of the support staff and communication. So, the time is doubled. I haven't done a lot of ball, but it's been really cool. I think with the players coming in soon, be able to do a little bit more. But a normal day right now starts with about 6 a.m. They have a schedule for me every day, and then I go in with James for the rest of the day. So that's where we've been at right now.
Coach, as your wife and your sons are getting settled in the Jacksonville area, what are some of the tourist attractions or restaurants or fun things to do that you've discovered in Jacksonville?
So we've gone out to Ponte Vedra a number of times out there. Went to V's Pizza a few times. My son, pepperoni and cheese pizza is his favorite, so we're there a few times. I've been there already a number of times, but it's cool to just get around. You can tell, you can feel people do love football in the area. You can feel that, like going out to go get breakfast, going out to, get coffee. Like, you can feel people, and that's really cool, right? Like, ultimately, I'm passionate about football, and if you are too, that's cool with me, and I appreciate that. So have really enjoyed our time so far. Kids are in, my son Jackson's in school, and it's going well.
Every community has a story. Ours began over 105 years ago.
Brought to you by Community Coffee.
From a simple belief that great coffee has the power to bring people together. After 5 generations, our family's still roasting smooth, rich coffee that builds community. One cup at a time. Community Coffee. Community in every cup since 1919.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. How was everybody? Good? Okay, good. Great. Okay, good. So good to see everybody. We just had a good conversation about several business matters, including our media business. We covered a few topics. We certainly looked back on the past season on viewership, which I think you guys know a lot about. A successful year in viewership with the highest viewed Super Bowl of all time, also the highest viewed television program of all time. But we really focus more and more about the future of our media business, how we look at the changing landscape. That's a topic that we sort of speak about a lot in that session. As part of that, we talked a lot about our new partnership with Netflix, the successful Christmas doubleheader that we had, over 30 million viewers globally per game. The international expansion of that. Tonight, we'll have the benefit of having Ted Sarandos here, the CEO of Netflix, who will have a discussion with the commissioner in front of the NFL family this evening. We also had one voting matter on flexible scheduling for Thursday Night Football. As you probably recall, ownership only approved the use of flexible scheduling for Thursday Night Football for the 23 season. Since we didn't really use it, and we did that in 23 for the 24 season. We didn't really use it until this year, so we decided to extend it essentially to the tournament of Thursday Night Football. That was a successful vote. Hans Schroeder can tell you more about that when he's here. Lastly, we had a good conversation about non-game programming. We've had a concerted effort on creating more and more shows outside of live games. It includes quarterback, it includes other shows on Amazon, other shows on television. We also announced, and pleased to announce here, that we renewed our Hard Knocks relationship with HBO that will extend both domestically and internationally. So that was the general agenda that we had, and happy to take questions should you have any.
There are microphones on the side. If we have any questions, looks like Jersey Mike here to follow up.
Jersey Mike, that's his nickname now? NIL? Did you get any NIL for that one?
Not yet. They ain't over yet. All right. The renewal of the Hard Knocks with HBO, how long is that for?
I don't know if we're disclosing that, are we?
Regardless, the off-season was, the off-season program last year was definitely a hit with fans of at least 31 franchises. Is there a thought to make that something that, like Hard Knocks in the summer, is pretty much mandatory, that you can select the club and have them do it so that that continues in the future?
For the in-season program? No, for the off-season, there's sort of, we have by rule how we will select teams. We actually liberalize that quite a bit, and so there's some restrictions. The in-season sort of we'll do by division that will rotate over a period of time, so no division will have to do it twice in a row, it'll cycle through. But we try to remove as many restrictions as possible so that we can really lean into the teams that we think are interesting stories and that fans want to hear about.
So I guess the off-season is going to continue to be something that if the team wants to do.
No, the off-season or in-season? You talking about August?
No, off-season as in the one that was Giants.
Oh, the Giants show. That is a show that is not necessarily within our resolutions. That was one that we need to find a team to actually cooperate with. That's a new show. What I talk about is the Hard Knocks franchise is the August show and then the in-season show that's done by division. Excuse me, I misunderstood your question. Okay.
Sam Walker, LA Times.
Brian, 2 questions, both Chargers related. Any feedback on the Thursday night flex? What are the learnings from that? And the Friday game, the Friday opener in Sao Paulo. Is it any streaming? Is it Peacock? What's the status of that?
So let me address the second thing, and then Hans will talk to you about the first part. On the second one, we've not made any decisions about where that game will be aired, whether that's traditional or streaming. We're not sure yet. We're trying to figure that out. So no announcement there. Still very much in the air. You want to talk about Flex?
And
Sam, your question on Flex was
what did you learn from that? What did you learn from the experience? Chargers, I think, with the first game Flex out of that.
Flex into
the Thursday night game.
Yeah, the quick recap, I think it was Thursday, week 16. We had a Cleveland at Cincinnati game. And going into that, the Bengals were still sort of having, before they got on that last winning streak, Cleveland was having a tougher year. And on the flip side, we had a Denver and Chargers game that both teams in a tough division had played their way into the playoffs. And if we left it on Sunday, it was probably going to only go to 10 or 15% of the country on CBS that week. So we have the right, our TNF was, our Flex right was expiring after this season, and we thought it was a great opportunity to put it in our fans. Obviously, when I say fans, predominantly the viewing fans, obviously there's some disruption to the season ticket holders we're going to be incredibly sensitive to. That's why we make that decision farther out than we do with our other Flex decisions. But I think it was a very positive result. Certainly there was some disruption with that local Chargers taking place, but it was an early game. It was West Coast time, so it was 5:15 in SoFi. And I think that from the team's perspective, they had a really good experience operationally being able to adjust the 28 days notice that we gave them. Again, the viewership, I think, well exceeded what we projected the viewership was. And for fans that weekend, I think we had a playoff relevant game in every national window after we were able to execute that Flex. So we just successfully got Flex extended with the membership now, which we're excited about for Thursday Night Football. What I would stress, and if you look back at the history of Flex from back to 06, on Sunday night it's been less than 2 a year. We're going to be very judicious with when and how we do this, but in those instances where it arises, it's a very, very valuable tool for us.
Are you bracing for more turbulence in the reaction that you got?
Look, I think there's a certain set of owners that were, had a similar view 2 years ago when we voted it for the first time. I think some others have realized after they've seen it, after hearing the experiences of the team, after seeing it in action, have come around. So certainly there were some that are still not the biggest fans of it, to put it that way, but the overwhelming membership approved it. We're excited to have it, and again, we think it's a win for our fans and for Amazon going forward.
Left over here, John Kendall, The Athletic.
I'm not sure who needs to field this one, but in terms of the August Hard Knocks, when do you expect an announcement on a participant there?
I think very shortly. I think this spring sometime is what we're aiming for.
And under you mentioned the liberalization of the rules there. Under the old rules, we had kind of whittled down to just a couple of teams who could not refuse the invitation. Is that a bigger pool now? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, it's a much bigger pool now. Yes.
Okay, so the field is wide open now.
It's a much wider field than it was years ago. Yes.
Stay on the side left, Mark Massey.
The Thursday night Flex, it used to be on 28 days notice. Did it get changed with this to 21 days notice, or does it stay at 28?
It's at 21.
Okay, let's do to wrap up. We'll go with the Fishers, Ben, and then Eric.
How would you, what's this going from 28 to 21 days do in terms of the value of the Flex option to Amazon and your ability? What's different in 7 days? Maybe Hans.
Yeah, I'll let Hans answer that. He's got it.
Yeah, look, every day we get closer, every set of games we allow it to pass before we have to make a decision makes us smarter. And so, there's certain, we all have seen in an NFL season. Again, I'll use the Bengals as an example. Halfway through the season, it didn't look like they were going to make the playoff chase at all, and there ended up week 18 game. They were playing to win to stay in. So for us, what we were trying to balance was that threat of Thursday to a Sunday is just a more disruptive change for the fans and those season ticket holders that are planning to go to the game. But can we get a little bit closer, let us see one more week of games? So not only only we want to know if we want to change the game from Thursday, but also what the other games and what are their implications and what's the domino effect of making a decision on any one Thursday night game. It's also as important, what are the other games that weekend and what's the implications there. So every day that goes by we get a little bit smarter, but you wanted the balance being farther out, given the fan and the local impact, moving 4 days versus just Sunday afternoon and Sunday night.
No other changes to the structure of the
That's right. That's right. All the other terms stay the same, simply we just changed the 28-day notice down to 21.
This is finished, Eric Fisher.
Question about your opt-outs in the USC, right? The last 10, 12 months, a lot of new data's come in. Record, Super Bowl, NBA deal, college football, playoff deal, all the stuff coming in that seems to support your case. How are you sort of thinking about the opt-outs from large?
I would say all that data you referred to is all positive. I think for the value in media of sports in general, but I would also say the NFL specifically, I think that's all positive. I don't think it's a mystery that as media fragments, there's very few programming options to aggregate large audiences. Sports is at the top, and I think NFL football is at the top of that. So I think that all bodes well for sports and for the NFL. How we think about the opt-outs, we haven't made any decisions. They are there because in a media environment that is changing rapidly, we want to make sure that we have the flexibility to make any, all, or no changes at all. And so we have made no decisions on that, but we continue to monitor the landscape. We continue to do the thinking that will be necessary as we approach those days.
Okay, that'll conclude.
Some heroes are born, some heroes are made. Some heroes stock the shelves with soda and lemonade. Each one of us is dedicated to all things refreshing and carbonated.
It takes a lot of heart to be a family. It takes a lot of work, that's plain to see. It takes people who care, working as a team to be
the heroes we are at CCSWB. When the going got tough, we kept trucking on. Even in the hardest times, your favorite products won't be gone. Each one of us has great potential to do the work when it's essential.
It takes a lot of heart to be a family. It takes a lot of work, that's plain to see. It takes people who care, working as a team to be
the heroes we are at CCSWB.
It takes a lot of heart to be a family. It takes a lot of work, that's plain to see. It takes people who care, working as a team to be
the heroes we are at CCSW.
Good morning, everybody. We just updated the membership on our clear priority on the global growth of the league. That's been a theme across the opening session last night, which was focused on women's sports and women in sports, and certainly had a flag football focus. This morning's session, in the opening session, also included Maz Malonzo, who's a member of our International Player Pathway Program, and then the session that I just came out of was focused on global growth overall. Obviously, a big priority, and thrilled coming out of 2024 around the continued momentum. We're focused, we're building, we've got a challenger mindset. We came out of the 2024 season that was the most watched NFL regular season outside of the U.S. ever. Came out of 5 successful regular season games, continued growth on a lot of our core platforms, including on our Game Pass product, which continued to grow significantly. But most of this morning was focused on the future, really focused on, as we head into 2025, what's ahead of us. As you all know, and we previously announced, excited for the slate of 2025 international regular season games, 7 games across 6 stadiums, 5 countries, 2 continents, 2 games at Tottenham, 1 at Wembley, game returning to Sao Paulo, Brazil in week 1, and then for the first time ever, excited to have a regular season game in Berlin, Germany, in Madrid, Spain, and then the Steelers as the designated team in Dublin, Ireland. Clearly, those aren't the only markets we're focused on. Continuing to work across the league and the clubs to build momentum in Canada, in Mexico, and in Australia, New Zealand, where, as you all know, at Super Bowl, we announced the first ever regular season game in Australia, in Melbourne, Australia, at the Melbourne Cricket Ground, featuring the Los Angeles Rams as the designated home team. Lots of different drivers of our work. Games get the most visibility. What we talked a lot about this morning is it's about year-round, on-the-ground efforts to drive fandom, drive cultural relevance, and be in these markets for the long term with patience and making sure that our commitment is clear and we're building fandom. That includes participation. Flag plays a big role for girls and boys at the grassroots level on up to that Olympic platform in LA 28. Our academies, we have 2 academies, one in the UK serving European and African athletes, and then in Australia now in the APAC region with our academy open there. And then the International Player Pathway Program continues to be a focal point. Those young men are training at IMG Academy just up in Bradenton right now. Like I mentioned, Maz, a member of that class, was with us this morning to tell his story. And already one member of that class has been signed, a German kicker signed by the Falcons. So excited about that momentum. The main announcement this morning is around the Global Markets Program, which is a core strategic driver as well. We all know the importance of having a favorite team and creating that connection to a favorite team. That's the heart of the Global Markets Program. There's the reveal, which I didn't time perfectly, but there is the reveal of the program, which takes us to big picture, 29 NFL clubs, now members of the Global Markets Program, across 21 markets. 4 new clubs added this year. The 4 new clubs, Baltimore Ravens were granted rights in the United Kingdom. Green Bay Packers were granted rights in Germany, UK, and Ireland. The Los Angeles Chargers were granted rights in Greece. And the Washington Commanders were granted rights in the UAE. So the 2 new markets. You have 4 new clubs, 2 new markets, Greece being a new market with the Chargers, and UAE being a new market, the LA Rams, San Francisco 49ers, and the Washington Commanders. Again, big picture now, 29 NFL clubs in 21 markets, again, with the focus of building resonance and relevance in those markets and fandom, and combining efforts with the league in doing that. So with that, I will pause. Happy to take any questions, but excited about the growth of that program and the engagement with the clubs.
Thank you, Peter. Your microphone's outside. Yeah, it looks like Sam Farr.
Thanks very much. UAE is of particular interest to me. You envision games in Abu Dhabi, something before the Olympics, playing games there, and can you sort of explain the gauzy interest that you've gotten in that area of the world?
Sure. We don't know timing, and it's really an if in terms of whether we'll play a game there. What I will say is that's a market where there's strong interest in our game, strong interest in growing our game on a year-round basis. I think that's why you see 3 clubs raising their hand with interest there. And it's a market we'll continue to explore. We've done some exploratory trips there to understand the viability of a potential regular season game in the market. But saying we got more work to do there in terms of what that looks like over this next stretch. But obviously an important market, and one which has hosted significant events in other sports in recent years, whether that's NBA or global soccer or F1. So there are learnings there, but we're going to do it as we try to in all of these markets in the right, thoughtful, cadence way. Yeah, sorry, definitely interest high. Absolutely interest high. I think that's frankly what we're seeing around the world is as we've made decisions to come into more markets, the Australia announcement being a big one, that was a statement announcement, and that has only ratcheted up the interest from other parts of the world, not only with the league on a year-round basis in terms of how do we partner in the right ways to grow the game together. So definitely high interest in.
20 Rosie, Cleveland.
As far as the London games in particular, do you have any information on dates and opponents? Not say when.
Not yet. We are working through that process. The opponents piece will be closer to the schedule release. So in that May window leading up, that's obviously one of many factors that go into that scheduling algorithm. And then dates, still finalizing those. Obviously, there's a bit of a track record around when generally in the schedule those London games have been, but won't be fully locked in until we get to that schedule release period in May.
Mark Maskey.
Peter, the announced international games for next season, the ones that are announced, would that be it for next season until the international games, or is there still a possibility of being someplace else?
We're going to be 7, Mark, the announced 7 in 2025, including those 3 new markets and stadiums. So excited about that 7, with an eye towards going north of that in 2026 and beyond.
Jerry Dulac, Pittsburgh.
Peter, along the same lines as Tony Grossman asked, the Steelers game in Ireland, the opponent and date, will that come out when the schedule is released, or perhaps earlier?
It will be in and around the schedule release. I know that sounds vague. It may not be at that very moment, but it'll be in that window, if not at schedule release, right prior to that. Really important to look at all of the factors and get the best possible schedule out there after the draft.
Mark Fisher.
Follow out Mark's question, looking at 26 and beyond, what is a theoretical number that you can get to with international games factoring in all the other days on the schedule?
Sure. Right now, the resolution that the owners passed is for up to 8 regular season games. That's part of the current resolution. That does not include the what we call the club opportunity models, which the Jaguars take advantage of. So for this year, the 7 is the 6 plus the Jaguars game. We have the ability to go up to 8 via the resolution, not including those Jaguars game or games. So that's the framework in which we look at 2026.
Go a couple more. Back left.
But is having marketing rights translate to having a better chance of having an international game?
It does. It's not fully defined that if you have those rights, you'll get that game. But clearly, our scheduling team looks to match up those things. Clearly, with rights in the market, you're activating year-round, and then the game is an inflection point. So, good examples from this year coming up will be obviously the Steelers. Rights in Ireland, this is an inflection point. Similarly, the Dolphins in Spain, they've had rights in Spain for a while. This is an opportunity to really shine a spotlight and propel those forward. Colts with rights in Germany. So a lot of factors go in the schedule, but certainly that is one of them where you try to line that up, both as a designated team, in some cases where possible, look at is there an opponent that may make sense given their rights there as well.
Do 2 more. Vicky on the right.
When it comes to expansion, how do you determine where geographically around the world you're going to, the NFL is going to expand? Is it solely based on interest, or are there other factors?
You really look at where the opportunity is. You look at what's the state of the fan base today, where is there that interest, what does it look like, and then what does the potential look like? What's the potential to grow that fan base, build relevance? What are the barriers there? In some places there may be real opportunity down the line, but there are a lot of barriers. So it starts with where can we really accelerate fandom and cultural relevance, and then what's the strategic and ultimately financial opportunity down the line. So we've obviously selected these new markets that we're going into very strategically. Brazil was that choice last year, Spain this year, Australia next year. We'll learn, and that's what we're doing. We are, as I referenced before, we're a challenger brand. We know our position. We come with a mindset of let's partner, let's learn, let's grow together in these markets. But there's a lot of effort that goes into the decision of what's that next market.
Last question for Peter Randall Williams, Bloomberg.
Hey Peter, I wonder how much are you thinking about flag football in the Olympics with this? A lot of countries up there, and there's going to be a lot of countries in LA in 2028. Are you thinking about flag football when you're planning these things as well?
We are. And flag plays a role at all levels. It starts at the bottom of the pyramid. It's that entry point. It's the way we can scale our game. It's girls and boys in schools who now, not only via our efforts, but since that Olympic announcement a couple of years ago, the investment in these countries and others around the world in flag programs is huge, and that has obviously participation impact, but fandom impact in a really real way. And then if you look at, take a country like Australia. Australia is a great sporting market, an opportunity where you've got some similar sports to American football, where you can transition athletes. The next Olympic Games after LA is in Brisbane 32, so you certainly think about that. We talked to the ownership this morning about the 7 things that really drive our success in these markets, and flag is very core to those, as well as building local heroes and building that connection. Jordan Mailata is probably the greatest example of that, the first player out of the IPP, International Player Pathway Program, to now win a Super Bowl. This was the highest rated Super Bowl in Australia ever. We announced a game. The Eagles have rights in Australia. Jordan is a star player, really strong viewership. So you start to draw some of those lines. So to your core question, it all connects, and flag's a big part of that.
Hey, thank you very much, Peter.
At Taco John's, you can expect one thing: so good. As in quality ingredients used in tacos and burritos made just for you. Every single bite.
So good.
Expect nothing less at Taco John's.